Minimax just released a new AI model called Minimax M3, which is actually pretty powerful. I'm gonna get to the comparisons a little later, but let me show you what I was able to make using Minimax M3. I was able to make this Call of Duty-esque game. We have 3D shapes and everything, and it looks pretty good to me. This was something that was built on Minecraft, honestly, and it worked out pretty well. A little bit more about that process a little bit later on. Let's get to the comparisons. As we see here, Minimax does really well with Sweet Bench, Terminal Bench, Vibe, SVG Bench, Kernel Bench Hard, and it seems like it's not that far away from some of the bigger players. They're basically neck to neck with Opus 4.7 in a lot of regards, but trail behind a lot. And you're probably wondering, why would they release something that's not better than the big three, right? Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude. Well, it's because really the magic here isn't how well it scores on the benchmarks. Also, benchmarks are kind of lies a little bit. This doesn't tell you the full picture, but what does say a lot about a model is how much it costs. Minimax M3 right now is $1.20 per input, and output is 4.8 cents, which means the input and output cost is really less than Claude Opus 4.7 and their 4.8 model. An input token on Opus 4.8 is, well, $5, and the output is $25. That's pretty expensive of a model when you have something like M3 that's comparable. And right now they're running a sale where all this is 50% off, so the input is actually 60 cents. Output is $2.4 or $2.40. It's actually crazy how cheap the Chinese models are versus the American models. You can't really beat that price when it comes to the American models. And even though I was able to create this game with Minimax M3 or Minimax M3, I do want to talk about how cheap this actually is. You see this model right here where they made this platformer-esque game where this person's jumping up and avoiding enemies. Also able to identify different items on that napkin, I think it was. You see that in order to do this is very cheap. They basically made this game for 28 cents in total, which is not a bad deal. And also the token consumption to identify the napkins, as well as to understand what was really going on, which was the inspiration, literally on a napkin, cost less than a cent to even make. So the total game cost was really cheap to understand the concept and then make with Minimax M3. And we also see somebody from the community doing this video control with M3 where they're controlling this freaking light show with their hands, which is pretty cool. As well as people are making all kind of websites from it. And a lot of the Chinese models have had a huge upgrade when it comes to more front-end development. And people are just making pretty cool projects from M3 right now. But also want to show you the process I had to go through to actually make this game. Even though I think it's pretty cool, it did go through some iterations. I basically asked M3 to, well, make me a Call of Duty-esque game. I want to make a Call of Duty first-person shooter, and it went ahead and did it. But the problem with it doing it the first time was that it would crash. So as soon as I got the game started and launched and started to try to move, the game would just crash on me. Even though the game actually looked really crisp and really good, it would just crash. And I had to roll the dice about 4 or 5 or 6 times, sending it the errors in order for it to really fix itself. It got so detailed and a lot of different loops in order to get this done that I ended up having to buy some credits. So I couldn't get this all done on the free tier. I did have to buy $6,000 worth of tokens or credits for Minimax. But all in all, I do think this is a pretty cool demo and a pretty good game. And all I spent was $5 even with the tokens, and I didn't even use most of them. So I think if you're looking for a really bargain AI to play around with to make some really fun projects and get you started, I think this is a good starting point because it won't break the bank. You can spend without actually hurting your pockets. Unlike Claude, which will definitely run up a bill. You hear people spending thousands of dollars before they know it because Claude is out there building. And even though Claude has a $5 input and $25 output, which is already expensive compared to a lot of the Chinese models, they have a fast mode, and the fast mode doubles both of those. So it becomes a $10 input and a $50 output token. That can get really expensive. But tell me what you think about Minimax M3. Do you think it's pretty impressive, or you really get the latest and greatest with which has all the best rankings on the leaderboard, even though the leaderboards and the tests don't really give you the full picture? But if you want to keep up the latest and greatest AI news, you should definitely like and subscribe. With that being said, your boy Dexter out.